What's going on? Gear video this week. We're going to look at the Paria Outdoor Products TriFold Carbon Cork Trekking Poles 2025. I don't know when the last time they updated these were, but this isn't my first set of these, so I want to give a little bit of a descriptor there on which ones these are. So this is the most current design as of April 2025. In the package here, real quick, there wasn't much to unbox. It was just in a box in a big Ziploc bag. They also came with instructions on how to set them up and take them down. And then this tag here, which has all of their company information on it. So not much to unbox there. I did go through these real quick just to get an idea of what I'm talking about. So very nice carry bag that I never use, so that's gonna go to the side. You also get a set of extra rubber feet because those do tend to get lost, so that's nice to have. And then in the bag you got the trekking poles themselves, and you do get two for the price. So this is not per trekking pole. I paid $69.99 I think for these. I did buy these myself. These were not given to me for any reason. These are my own purchase. So you do get two for a little under 70 bucks, and they weigh each 0.55 pounds. So just over a half a pound each. That's with the standard cup. There's no snow cups that come with these, but you do get a standard cup. Slightly heavier, if I remember correct. My old ones came in at half a pound even, but I know why these weigh a little bit more, and it's actually a really good thing. So my original pair, 9 years old. So when it was time to buy new ones, which it is now, I no doubt in my mind, I'm looking at the Parias again, and saw what they did. The pictures were pretty obvious. I could tell what the changes were. So having them in my hand and looking at them, these are really, really nice now. So not that they weren't before, but they really focused on things that need to be or might need to be improved. The areas where I never had problems with, but things get fixed for reasons. So there's little things that I see here that are just nice touches. There's a slightly different color scheme. My old ones were red and gray at the bottom. These are red and black, not a huge difference. But immediately right off the bat, what I noticed was right here. So this collar and insert, this aluminum collar and insert, much beefier than on my old ones. So weight is going to be added right there. And then there's these nice bushings right here that are going to extend the life of this cord, this cable in here, the steel cable, which now appears to have a heavier rubberized plastic coating on it, which is a welcome thing. And then this entire looks like the entire handle piece has been slightly redesigned. There's a little less cork on this one by like maybe that much, like not much, but a little less cork, and this collar has been completely redone, which is very nice touch, and I'll show you why, and I'll talk about what my initial issue with these were when I got my first ones 9 years ago. And then there's the tip. It's a nice squared off tip. There's definitely some cuts in there to help with either ice or even some stone to help grab. I think my original ones had that. I don't remember. They're now just round, so I don't really have anything to compare that to. But these are really simple to set up. If you've never seen TriFold poles before, you start at the bottom. You just do that with that bottom piece, and then at the top there's another tube that extends up into the handle. You just slide that down over that collar and insert, just like at the bottom. You hear them click together nicely. And then up here, let me see where it is. Right here, so it's on this side. So you're gonna see, watch right here, there's a little pin that pops out. And that's it, that's all you have to do. That pin, beefier than the old one, rests on this aluminum collar. The old ones, and I'll show you that, had a slightly different mechanism, but this was plastic. So maybe there was issues with that, with it breaking on some people. I didn't have a problem with that collar. Like I said, I did have an issue with my first pair, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then the other thing they updated was this thumb tensioner. That's now aluminum. There's still a thumb screw back here to adjust the tightness on this. So you want to make sure that that tightens, that grabs well, and I'll show you how to test that. And then this is the 120 to 135 centimeter pole, and I think the other one is 100 to 115 or 120, something like that. So they do make a shorter size. This is the larger. And then there's a warning there, stop, don't pull it any further. So what you do to test how strong that, if that's grabbing well enough, and I'll loosen it up just to show you. So I'll loosen it up. All right, you tighten that down, and then just set it on the ground and just lean on it. And if it gives, it's not tight enough. So what you do is you loosen it up, so it's good and loose, and then you tighten this a couple turns. Try it again. Nope, still not tight enough. So I'm gonna loosen up, and I'm gonna turn it a couple more times. Tighten it down. Lean on it. Ooh. I had to put a lot of weight on it. I want to make sure mine don't give it all. So I'm gonna tighten that down. There we go. That's not going anywhere. So I put almost all my weight on that. So that's good and tight. So you loosen it up. I usually put mine at about 123 centimeters. It's usually pretty comfortable for me. And there we go. Dragging the pole's all set up. And then to collapse it, it's just the opposite. Flip that open, compress it, tighten it, just push that down, and the tension on that steel cable is going to make that collapse immediately. There we go. You push the upper tube in, just pull it apart, pull it apart. There you go. So what do they look like after 9 years? I'll show you the differences in these, and what I think about some of the changes they made, because pretty impressive with what they did. Now I assume, like I said, that companies make changes where there's been failures. So I'm guessing there was issues with this whole setup, with this collar, the insert, and the adjusters, like this whole thing. And I can understand that, because the first pair that I got, these look identical, except for these are much more beat up. You can see these have got the gray bottoms. The first pair I bought off of Amazon, off their Amazon store. And the ones I got were pre-production or prototypes that I wasn't supposed to get. They weren't supposed to ship out. And there was no support structure inside of this. You can see this is completely different. This is the 9-year-old version. This is all plastic. And inside here, there's supposed to be a support for the pin that pops out. Now, the ones that I initially got, there was no support in there. So I was on the Queehana Trail. I was there for I was just kind of scoping out the area, seeing what it was like. And I was looking at the map, and I stuck one in the ground, and I took the other one to stick it in the ground and hit a rock. And I was like, oh, and I went sticking the ground again. I hit a rock the second time. And I did it the third time, and the whole thing just collapsed. And I was like, oh, that was really soft. And I picked it up, and it was like this. And I was like, uh-oh, something happened. And the carbon tube just splintered because there was no support there to hold that pin. I reached out to Paria, and I was like, hey, this happened. I actually had a scope camera. I went into the tube, and I looked at it, and I sent him a picture. And it was the owner of the company, and he said, oh, you weren't supposed to get those. Where'd you get those from? And I told him, and he said, oh, I'm gonna send you a new pair. Just We don't need those ones back somewhere. So I still have that original one somewhere. I don't think I ever got rid of it. I just don't know where it is. And yeah, so they sent me these ones, and these are the ones I've been using for 9 years. And I'll show you. Well, I'll leave them open here for a second. New one, old one. If we just look at that collar, you can see the difference, how much beefier the new one is. There's no bushing in here. This is shorter. This is shorter. They're the same thickness. There's way more area on this one to hold the poles together. So I don't know if some people were having problems with them breaking. I never had a problem with that. The other thing you might notice, let me collapse that. There we go. Is this steel cable on mine obviously is very, very messed up, but the plastic coating on the new ones is thicker, and with that bushing, it's going to make these last longer. There's actually, this one's pretty good. I think the other one, the coating is just frayed off, and the actual cable itself is starting to fray. This one's fraying too. So 9 years of use, you expect that to happen. And then the other big change here, and well, first I'll show you this. That's the tip on mine. It is just round. There's nothing left. Even the threads are pretty much worn off in these. And then on these ones, the biggest issue I've been having, the reason why I want to replace them, and this isn't a manufacturing problem, it's just 9 years of use. You can see the paint's wearing off them. So it's got this lock and unlock icon here. So you got to pull this out, and there's a line. So that's where the pin is. I don't know if you can see around there. There's like a white powder, and I think it's from, it might be from the aluminum. I'm not sure, but it's been happening on these for a little bit. But sometimes this pin will jam. It just doesn't want to spring up anymore. So then what you had to do was you had to slide to that lock position, and it slid in there, and I don't know if you can really see that. There's just a little opening in there at that lock mechanism right there. And that pin just sits in there in this little housing of plastic. Now, I'm surprised that this never broke on me. And the fact that they changed that makes me think that it did break on somebody. But yeah, my original ones, it broke the carbon because there's no support. But I think maybe this was a failure point before. And then this thumb release is plastic on the old ones, and aluminum on the new ones. So I always was afraid, especially in the winter, if I had to change the tension, that was going to snap because it was plastic. Maybe that was happening. I don't know. But so this whole area has been redone on the new ones, and then these collars have been replaced. Is that carbon? So I think on these ones, this is carbon, or this is aluminum. I wonder if it's aluminum on these. It looks like carbon on the new ones. But I don't know, maybe it's just paint it to look like carbon. But yeah, they've held up well for 9 years. The straps are faded. This used to have the Paria Outdoor Products on the handle. They used to be black. They're like purple now. But this is the same exact fabric that's on the new ones. The same cut. Looks like the same, like this whole section is the same. They've updated this. But it just goes to show that they look at the products and say, okay, well, we don't need to change this. We don't need to make this flashy. We don't need to do anything. Forget about that. That works fine. This works fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, we've had some issues with this. Let's replace this. This might be an issue. Let's replace that. They really only focus on the things that need to be updated. But other than that, these are the same poles. same striping on them in the same position. They just got some updates to them. So yeah, that is a look at the Paria Outdoor Products updated newest version of their TriFold carbon cork trekking poles. Hopefully I get another 9 years out of these. With these updates, maybe I'll get 15, who knows. But these, I really like these. Like I said, I don't get paid by these guys. There's nothing like that. I just, when I find gear that works, I like to keep it. And if the company is still making the same product and they've only made it better, then yeah, I'm going to buy it. There are lighter trekking poles out there. These are a little over half a pound per pole. I would rather have slightly heavier poles I know are going to last a decade, right, than lighter poles that could break at any time. I'm not saying that lighter poles will, but there's always a possibility. You're always giving up something for that lightness. Maybe you don't get them in like a TriFold. These are nice, 15 inches. The two of these fit right in the side pouch of my backpack. I don't even know they're there until I need them, which is awesome. When I had ones that just compressed down, they were always either sticking up over my pack or sticking down below my pack. So when I'm trying to either go under trees or over trees, they're down or getting stuck, and I just hated that. These tuck away, they're out of the way, they cause no issues. So yeah, I knew I needed a new pair at the end of last season. I was like, these are going to need to be replaced. I think they're going to need to be replaced, for next year. So I was like, you know what, it's time to get them. So stuck with the same color because they brought me luck, I guess. I don't know. When I did some of the trails, like the Queehana Trail and the Chuck Hyper Trail, these held a lot of my weight on days where it was wet or slippery, and a foot would go on a wet rock and all my weight would go to one side, and these poles never even pretended to fail on me. So, well, those poles never pretended to fail on me. These ones have to live up to that. So I'll keep you updated on these as I use them. But yeah, even like the carbon held up, or the cork held up really well on my old ones. So they're a little bit worn out, a little bit polished, but not bad. So if you guys are looking for poles, definitely keep these ones in mind. 9 years with the old ones. See how long these ones last. I can't expect them to last any shorter unless something crazy happens and I wind up breaking one, which I hope that doesn't happen because that's going to be a very bad day. So thanks for checking it out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next.